just as everyone predicted, that G-Rod, Gregory Robocop Rodrigues, was going to go out there, have an answer for the pressure, the pace, the cardio, and the volume that Fluffy Hernandez was going to bring to the table, and was going to just outstrike him, defend all of his takedowns pretty much, and beat him over the course of 25 minutes and get it done on the scorecards, right? Isn't that what everyone predicted? MMA in 2026 just continues to throw us curveballs, man. And MMA just doesn't make any sense anymore. That's what 2026 has brutally exposed about the sport that we absolutely love, man. I picked Robocop to win this fight, but I did not think that he was going to go out there and win a decision against Fluffy Hernandez in a 25-minute fight. In a 3-round fight, sure, I could definitely see that. But over the course of 25 minutes, get out of here, man. Get out of here. And this dude goes out here and beats Fluffy Hernandez. And I scored this fight 4-1 in favor of Robocop to get the job done. Now, I see how it could be 3-2 for Hernandez, right? Depending, and obviously this is me reacting off of real time, not having, watched it back from more of the judge's eye. But I'm so impressed with Robocop, man. He literally, people are going to say, well, he slowed down, he got tired, and he called out DDP, and in that fight, his gas tank. And can we just focus on what just happened? This dude went out there against the dude that people were saying is the Marab, myself included, the Marab of the middleweight division, and went out there and beat him over the course of 25 minutes. He didn't knock him out. He hurt him multiple times, and we'll talk about it. I thought, he kind of fumbled a finish in a way, but Fluffy's a dog, man. Fluffy's an absolute dog. Turns out he's not chinny to the body anymore. He's chinny to the leg, right? So he switched it up on us a little bit for this fight. But, man, MMA, it just doesn't make any sense anymore. It just doesn't make any sense. So we got a lot to talk about. UFC Fight Night Sacramento. I really enjoyed this. My emotions were all over the place. Things on this card didn't make sense to me. Lerryan Douglas going down, getting knocked out by Emmers. I'll have to face the music. Shamil Gaziev, title run starts now. We got a lot to talk about. Let's hop right into it, man, because Gregory Rodrigues deserves all of the credit in the world, because I don't know anyone on the face of the earth that thought this man was going to win this fight by decision. Like, everyone had the same breakdown pretty much. Everything that I was hearing, myself included. Robocop early, Fluffy late, right? It was one of those again. And we had every reason to think that that's how this fight was going to go, right? It was either going to be Robocop goes out there and nukes Fluffy in the first 10 minutes, and if he doesn't, woo, that gas tank's going to go, and Fluffy's going to put a pace on him and just kind of ragdoll him around and probably either submit him or ground and pound him out. And, I was like, the judges aren't going to be needed. They could take the night off. Well, turns out, don't listen to me, dog, because they were needed. And I'm just impressed because, honestly, I really like both of these guys. And I said that coming in. I didn't want to see either guy lose and what this meant for their careers. Fluffy coming off of the loss to Strickland. Robocop building all of this momentum since losing to Cannonier in the Apex in that 5-round fight. He's been on a hot streak. He's been knocking people out, right? Getting the get back on Bruno Ferreira. And, he's a different kind of player at 185. You recognize the physicality and the power that Robocop brings to the table. But for him to go out here and, in a way, kind of dominate this fight. Like, listen, I know that maybe dominate is a little bit, too strong of a word here. But if you look at, and again, we know how the UFC's website is here. We got to take this with a grain of salt with the stats. And I never, fully trust this. But when you watch the fight, man, it's like Fluffy landed a few flurries here and there, landed an elbow in tight here and there, slicing Robocop open. But Robocop pretty much dominated this fight on the feet. Was getting the straight right hand going, landed the left hook, was going to the body with some kicks, landed some nasty calf kicks that had Hernandez's lead leg completely compromised. And it was like mind-boggling because the commentary was acting like they didn't know that Robocop throws leg kicks. And I was literally crushing these narratives all week, man, talking about where are people getting this information that, Robocop just doesn't go to the body like Strickland does. He doesn't attack the legs. Yes, he does. Did you not watch him fight Kopylov? Did you not watch him fight Jared Cannonier? This dude absolutely goes to the body, rips thunderous kicks to the body, mixes in the boxing to the body, attacks the legs with nasty leg kicks. So I'm just happy for Robocop, man. It sucks to see Fluffy lose. He's an absolute dog. Went out there, pushed the pace, and listen, this was a fight where in terms of the physicality, like Hernandez is outmatched. And Gregory did a great job of just not really fighting in the grappling with Fluffy. He just kind of let him push him up against the fence, was conservative with the energy, not trying to scramble real hard, not trying to defend real hard to where he would wear himself out. And I feel like that was what Anthony's game plan was based on, which makes a lot of sense. Push Gregory into the fence, force him to defend some takedowns, blow up the arms, take away some of the explosiveness, which kind of was starting to happen in a way. And I was like, oh man, halfway through round 2, I'm like, oh, Fluffy's going to win this fight. I'm like, Robocop looks gassed. He looks tired already. We're not even 10 minutes in. And then he starts to kind of find some shots in round 2 towards the end. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Round 3 looks like he's slowing down. Then he starts moving forward. And I'm like, is he tired? Is he not tired? And then he just starts walking Fluffy down. Then it looks like Fluffy's starting to slow down. This was a dogfight, man. This was a grueling pace. While I thought Gregory clearly outstruck Fluffy, landed the more damaging shots, won the fight. Like, straight up. I know Fluffy did a good job of just kind of smudging him up against the fence, and that's kind of what Anthony had to do in a fight like this until you could get Gregory tired. But even though Gregory did slow down, absolutely slowed down, he did not full-blown gas. Like, the way we were talking about this fight, it would be like Gregory's like, he's like SpongeBob, you know, whenever you don't have when he's like, he goes into Sandy's bubble or bowl or whatever, and he doesn't have the water, he's like, water! And he's like, and he like starts malfunctioning. That's what we were expecting for Robocop, was for the wires. You just, the back of them opens up and you're looking into the robot and the wires are sparking, and like, that's what we envisioned with Robocop, and that didn't really happen, right? Some of the wires were coming out and he was like, water! But he was fighting through it. And I'm wildly impressed. I'm like amped up because I cannot believe that this dude just won a 25-minute fight. Like, I never thought we'd see the day. I'm like, that was one of the things I was saying. I'm like, this guy in a 25-minute fight, he better get the KO. And Robocop learned from the Cannonier fight of not just unloading, trying to get the finish, which actually, in a way, kind of cost him a finish because Fluffy's leg was heavily compromised, man. He could not move on that leg very well at all. And then Robocop kind of entertained the grappling, got into a top position. Fluffy was able to scramble back out, started to land some shots, was smiling at him, and it's like, oh man, Fluffy's building this momentum heading into round 3. And then you could feel the tide start to shift, and then Robocop would start to battle back, start to land some big shots. Yeah, man, Robocop's defense looked really, really good. Didn't expend a ton of energy, just kind of let Hernandez push him up against the fence. Didn't really fight it. Conserved his energy, picked his moments, when to explode. I'm very impressed with what I saw from Robocop, man. Because people are going to try to downplay this, and they're going to start being like, man, he doesn't stand a chance against the top guys in the weight class. Can we just focus on what he just did? Went out there against the cardio king, the Marab of the weight class, and won on the scorecards against him. In a fight to where I thought he won at least 3 rounds, obviously, because he won, but at least 3 rounds. I thought that he could have won 4. So, impressive stuff from Robocop. Fluffy, I mean, he's going to have to, he made some improvements, right? Obviously, he was getting, cracked to the body. It really wasn't phasing him a ton, but then the leg was giving out, right? And obviously, if you're getting hit in the right spot on the leg and on the calf, your leg's going to go. It's just the reality. And when someone hits as hard as Robocop, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. So, I like Fluffy a lot, man. Sucks to see him lose, but by the same token, I'm excited to see G-Rod go out here and get a win because I like the DDP call-out. DDP fought Kamaru Usman and dominated him, right? And Usman was a welterweight coming up, so it's like, what middleweight's kind of murky at the top right now. I really like a DDP versus Rodrigues fight. I think that's a ton of fun, right? Because we all know that DDP's very durable. He hits very hard. He's a very well-rounded fighter. I feel like that's kind of, in a way, a rough stylistic matchup for Robocop, but we know how Gregory gets down, nasty power, and as I said, what kind of encouraged me to pick him in this fight and kind of believe in that pick while I was very, torn on who was going to win this fight was the fact that Robocop's background is grappling, and you got to see the takedown defense looked very, very good in this fight. And I thought that was impressive considering we know what Fluffy brings to the table. And listen, that straight right hand from Robocop, a lot of fighters should be taking notes. A lot of these guys throw the big ooga booga winging punches. I was just watching Cyborg, man. That's why it took me a few to get to this video, throwing these big ooga booga right hands. Robocop, boom. Short, sharp, straight right hand, couldn't miss. But you see as Robocop starts to get tired, the defense starts to get labored. He starts to get out of position, and that's where Hernandez was starting to counter and land some good shots of his own. But I picked Robocop to win, but like I said, I thought it was going to be KO or bust. So the fact that he went out here, and I did say, watch him. I did say in my video to cover myself, right, for picking Robocop by KO, I said, watch him go out here, something along the lines of, watch him go out here and show us something new and win this fight by decision and outstrike for Hernandez over the course of 25, and was messing around, but turns out that that's actually what ended up happening. So happy for Robocop, man. We got, a fun my player at 185. He's got power. His striking is good. His grappling is good. Obviously, the gas tank isn't great. He's still slowed down. But to do that in a grueling, smudge you up against the fence type of fight that Hernandez brought to the table, that's kind of a kryptonite matchup for somebody like Robocop. And for him to go out there and get the job done, super happy for G-Rod, man, to go out here and pull this one off and to outstrike him basically and win a 25-minute fight. Who saw that coming? Just like I said, as everyone predicted, Robocop by decision. I'm joking. I don't think anybody saw that coming. And, Fluffy, he had some moments, but it was one of those things where the physicality of Gregory, I just felt like it was a little bit too much for him. And the power, every time Gregory landed, you could just see the difference. And it's one of those things where I've been saying, like, could Fluffy make 170? I know he's kind of a decent-sized guy. I don't know if he could get down to that weight class because I feel like he'd be a problem there, right? And he's still very good at 185. I'm not saying because you've lost 2 in a row that it's time to change weight classes. That's not what I'm saying. I just... you looked in there and it's like, man, these guys look like they were a different weight class. So Fluffy was still competitive, had moments. He's a dog, ate some big shots. The leg got compromised. A lot of guys, they just curl up into a ball and the fight's over. I felt like Robocop should have let him up, should have attacked the leg a little bit more and could have gotten a finish. But I feel like that was him being cautious from the Cannonier experience, right? The Cannonier experience, I guess we could call it, to where he unloaded for the finish, couldn't get it, and then was dog tired and then ended up getting put away. So good performance by Robocop. Happy got it done. Sad for Fluffy, but that was a grueling type of fight, man. Not the most exciting per se in terms of like this crazy back and forth exchanges, but it had its moments and the pace that was set on in here. I have a crazy appreciation for that. So hats off to both guys. I really enjoyed the fight. It was a stressful one. Watching it go back and forth. Robocop was tired, then he wasn't. Fluffy was battling back. This was a fun back and forth, man. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I like Robocop versus DDP next. Book it. Co-main event, Sergey Spivac versus Vitor Petrino. First, let's start with the fact that Vitor Petrino, he looked solid in this division, and he just took out, I don't know how Spivac was ranked number 6. I wasn't sure if that was a mistake or if that's real, because I don't know how in the world he's top 10 at this point. But I picked Spivac to win this fight, and it was an awful pick. But I also didn't expect Spivac to show up and look pathetic and completely uninspired, which is what I saw. He literally looked uninspired, unmotivated, and just like he didn't want to be in there. And Petrino took full advantage of that. Was outboxing him on the feet, stung him with a jab early, busted the nose up of Spivac. The blood started leaking. Was out grappling him, putting him in some bad spots. Spivac wasn't even trying to get up, at all. And then in round 3, you heard Bisping being like, or it was Bisping and Cruz or one of them was like, Spivac can explode here. And he just wasn't at all. He had no urgency. And in round 3, it's like, dog, you're down 2 rounds. He had no urgency to go out there and try to win the fight. Very uninspiring type of performance by Spivac. Absolutely deserved to lose the fight. And look, Petrino's been putting it together. I've been harsh on him at heavyweight because I picked him I picked Asplin over him, right? I picked Petrino in a couple heavyweight fights that he's been, since he's been at heavyweight. But I've been kind of a doubter in a way of Petrino, right? I still think he's sloppy in a way, but he's well-rounded and he's powerful. He hits hard. I expected more from Spivac. Going out there against Ante D'Elia and putting up a good performance, where was that energy in this fight? I don't know. So I guess it's the credit to Petrino. The pressure, maybe Spivac just felt the power and the speed and was concerned and then got taken down and is like, I just can't beat this guy. I don't know. I just thought it was very, very weird energy from Spivac as the fight started to play out, knowing that you were down, and it just felt like there was no urgency on his end to go out there and try to win the fight. But like I said, all credit to Petrino, man. Going out there, getting the job done. He's going to be almost in the top 5 in the heavyweight division. We know heavyweight's wide open. He's got good grappling. He has a good submission game. We didn't really get to see, a ton of the submission threat tonight, but his ground and pound, the elbows were nice, landed some good shots on the feet, some good low kicks. Vitor Petrino impressed me, but by the same token, Spivac, I thought, looked uninspired and pathetic in there. Just my honest opinion. Reinier de Ridder versus Roman Dolidze. I mean, just listen. We picked RDR to win this fight. I thought he would get like a submission, but he ended up getting just a TKO here. Get rid of Roman Dolidze. I have seen enough. And I am sick and tired of this dude. First of all, going in there with that chest hair like that, I think it's inconsiderate, man, and I think it's kind of gross, right? You're a grappler. You're going to be grappling around with people, and you got all that chest hair going on. Like, I'm messing around, but it is kind of gross. Look at this picture here, right? Look at RDR over here, man. Looks nice and clean, professional. At one point, it felt like Dolidze was like, I don't know. Like, he was some guy that we could potentially see being a contender because his ground game was good. He was submitting people. He was starting to develop some knockout ability. And then it's just all kind of went out the window. Pulls guard and allows RDR, who's a much better overall grappler, get into a dominant position and just ground and pound him out, basically. Roman looked like he just didn't even care. Was he just, I don't know, uninspired, like Spivac, an uninspired performance. It was bizarre, man. It was bizarre. And then RDR easily got him out of there. And I actually thought that Frank Trigg did a good job not stopping the fight when RDR was landing those barrages of ground and pound shots because they weren't heavy at all. And Frank Trigg, being a fighter, he kind of understood the situation there of, this isn't really threatening, right? And then Dolidze did move or whatever. It's not like it was crazy big ground and pound shots. It was little pitter-patter shots. Give him some chances to move. Then the second time he got into a bad position, RDR was doing the same thing. And then it's like, okay, we've seen enough. So dominant win by RDR. We didn't even really get to see much of his striking, and I feel like I've been saying 205 is RDR's weight class. Not draining himself. He's a guy that likes to be active, and I think he should fight one more time this year for sure. I mean, he took no damage here that we know of. Easy win. And RDR's nasty in the clinch. We know his knees to the body are some of the best in the game. His elbows, his jab has gotten a lot better. We've seen his striking while it's Looney Tunes and goofy on the feet. It has gotten quite a bit better, and when it comes to the grappling, his judo's nice. He's got an excellent single leg. And if he could get the fight to the floor, his jiu-jitsu is some of the best all around in the UFC. So easy win for RDR. I feel like a lot of us saw this fight going in the direction of RDR. I just didn't think he would make it look that easy. Roman Dolidze looked awful in this fight, and RDR found his weight class. I think that with the grappling that he brings, there's not a lot of great grapplers at 205, so I think RDR is an interesting player in this division. Great win by de Ridder. I'm happy Rudolph the Red-Nosed de Ridder was able to get the job done, man. Markel Mederos versus Mason Jones. Now, we got this one wrong, but as this fight was playing out, I was like, Markel Mederos is going to win. Because Mason Jones was being way too reckless, over-swinging on shots, leaving his chin up in the air, not having any respect for the striking that Mederos brings to the table. And Markel Mederos is a better fighter than Mason Jones. I just figured the pressure, the power, and that relentless style that Mason brings to where it's just this gritty, basically brawl, was going to take away what Markel does well, which is the footwork, the movement, the more technical, clean fight. But Mederos did a great job of weathering a Mason Jones storm, took a lot of punishment kind of early, or in the first round. And then in the second round, he started to build his read. Saw Mason Jones mouth breathing like crazy, walking forward, throwing lazy shots, not having responsible defense, and Mederos threw like five of the same elbows, and it just kept spamming right elbows, and Mason Jones kept walking right into it. It reminded me of when Garbrandt got knocked out by Dillashaw, and Dillashaw just sat in the pocket and covered up and threw the same right hand like 5 times in a row and ended up knocking him out. And it's like, dog, you got hit with the same shot like 80 times in a row. That's literally what happened here. Mederos just kept throwing the same elbow. Bing, 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 bing. And eventually he hurt Jones, landed some follow-up, boxing combos. I think it was like a left hook or something, and was able to put him away. So Jones started out really strong, and then the defense just let him down. Got too overzealous, too excited, too chaotic. And Markel Mederos, very accurate, good footwork, and his straight punches, man. This is why, man, the good technique prevailed in this matchup over the relentless brawler in Mason Jones. And that's pretty crazy to go out there and knock out Mason Jones. I feel like Mederos is the first person to actually KO Mason Jones, which is pretty wild. So Markel Mederos looked fantastic, the best he's looked, in my opinion. Weathering an early storm, battling back, landing some nasty shots. He's a very accurate striker, improving a lot, I believe, over there at the MMA lab. I like what I saw from Mederos, man. Great performance. Carli Judice versus Gisela Chavez. We picked Carli Judice by knockout. I thought she would land a head kick, but we did talk about the body shots. And in the open stance game, Southpaw Orthodox, Carli Judice is a very smart fighter. And not only is she one of the best strikers, in this division, she's one of the best strikers in all of MMA, period, right? You watch a lot of the men, they don't operate with good fight IQ whatsoever. Carli Judice does every single fight. Look how she was going to the body. The amount of fighters that neglect going to the body, she doesn't. She went to the body early and often, and this is exactly why. I just don't understand why fighters don't take more notes like Dyer, who literally could have knocked out Reed in the first round. Go to the body. It's exactly what Judice did. Stabbing those front kicks to the midsection. Boom, boom, boom. Peppering with boxing to the body, right? Then ripping the shots upstairs. Then eventually, boom. Perfect front kick, I believe it was, right up the middle. Hurt Chavez bad. The very first one she threw, we got to see, Chavez grimace a little bit. And then eventually they started to add up. It was able to put her away. Body work, heavily underrated. Carli Judice, one of the most exciting prospects / up-and-coming fighters in all of the UFC. Her striking technique is outstanding. She's got power, good speed, good footwork, flawless performance. Goes out there and gets the knockout via body shots. I thought she was going to land a head kick, but the body work will do, man. That was impressive. Anthony Wint versus Terrence Chapman. I mean, I think we all expected Anthony Wint to go out here and make this look rather easy, but I thought it was going to be a KO. And he ends up just taking Chapman down. Looks like Chapman's going for a Kimura. Wint defends, gets into a dominant position, I believe it was an arm triangle, if I'm remembering correctly, and gets him out of there, man, and choked him out cold, which was pretty crazy, right? Or basically did, right? So very impressive stuff by Anthony Wint. And it's one of those things where Anthony's one of these guys where, playing at FIU, high level, football, Division I, inside linebacker, spending some time with the Jets. He's very athletic, very explosive, very strong. He's going to improve at a very, very rapid rate. And I like how he went on the DWCS, got the easy first round win, and then turns around like a week later and fights on this big fight night card and goes out there and gets a first round finish over a guy that actually has some decent skill. Don't let the physique fool you from Chapman, because he's actually got some pretty good skills. So I'd like to see him get another shot in the UFC. But great performance by Anthony Wint, and I like that we got to see his offensive grappling on display in this fight. His explosiveness, his physicality, it's going to be a problem for a lot of guys in this weight class. Great performance. Jamal Emmers versus Lerryan Douglas. Man. This stung. And I know people are going to want to clown me for this one, and people already are sending me messages and on Instagram and stuff. I knew Lerryan was going to lose this fight about 30 seconds into it, because he was headhunting too much. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Pico against Lerone Murphy, where I feel like if you run Pico versus Murphy back, I think Pico wins that fight, and I think he actually probably knocks out Lerone Murphy. I feel like if you give Lerryan a little more time, he knocks out Jamal Emmers in a rematch. Or if he has a different approach. Maybe that sounds delusional. I'm just saying, maybe I'm coping, man. Lerryan he was hunting for the big winging bomb to put Emmers away. And Jamal Emmers knew he was doing it. He knew he was walking forward, and Lerryan landed some nasty low kicks early, compromising the base of Emmers. Emmers started to get real light on the lead leg, which was exactly what you need to do when you know someone's got a powerful low kick. So very high fight IQ right there from Jamal Emmers. And then was just kind of circling, utilizing the footwork. And then as soon as Lerryan was pressuring forward with that high guard, as soon as he got stationary and kind of stuck, boom, Emmers threw the one, left it out there for a second, offbeat pretty much, right hand right down the pipe, stung Douglas. Douglas goes down, shells up, covers up, and that was the end of the fight. Great performance by Jamal Emmers, man. And look, I thought Lerryan was going to win this fight. I thought he was going to get another highlight reel KO, throw on the heat-seeking missiles, was going to find a way to get to the target, slow, Emmers down with the calf kicks, which is what Douglas was doing. But Emmers is crafty. We talked about that. He's a very crafty guy. I thought the craftiness would be the grappling, and we didn't see any of that at all. It was the striking. I know he's got good technical striking, and this was a perfect example of the straight punches, sharp and to the target, beat the big looping overhand, shots. There's a time and a place for the big looping overhand shots, I feel, right? But you see it. Look at Markel Mederos and Mason Jones. You see these sharp, accurate shots going right down the middle. They touch the target first, and this was a good example. And Lerryan Douglas was throwing these big winging power shots, which it's exciting, especially when they land. He can knock anybody out. I feel like he's one of the hardest. I've been saying he's the hardest hitting 145er. Him and, was it Barboza on this card? You know, those two guys got crazy power. And he really wasn't able to find the target. I would have liked to have seen him jab more, go to the body, throw it at the chest line, really try to get to a straight right hand, set some things up, but just a crafty performance by Emmers going out there and getting the first round knockout. This was a crushing blow, man. I'm pretty devastated by this one because I like Lerryan Douglas. He's a ton of fun to watch. I like his style. I like that he's working over there, a bloodline with Cub Swanson. I think he'll continue to get better. Just sucks that he lost, man. Hype train kind of derailed. I feel like he could get it back on the tracks, though. I expect him to bounce back in a big way. I'm a big fan of Douglas. This is a tough one, man. I was sad to see this happen, but credit to Emmers. Veteran, crafty performance, walked him into a perfect shot. Very, very well played by Jamal Emmers, man. Kennedy and Nzechukwu versus Shamil Gaziev. The title run, it's in motion. Title run is underway. Guys at the top of the division, they're already starting to make their plans and trying to find their excuses to duck the blob. Goat Zeev here. Listen, I don't know what the hell Kennedy and Nzechukwu was doing, and I don't know what the hell I was thinking by picking Kennedy and Nzechukwu, man. I'm never picking Kennedy. Listen, I'm never picking Kennedy to win a fight ever again. All right? On the record. I won't do it. I don't care if it's literally the layup of all layups. I'm not picking him to win a fight again. Never. Never, ever, ever, ever. Not happening. What the hell was he doing? This was actually a very winnable fight for him. And he was like, hold on, man. Let me surprise everybody. Let me watch a bunch of Wonderboy Thompson and MVP highlights and come out here and try to be MVP. Let me hold my hands down like I'm Raymond Daniels as well and start to just bob and weave. And he kind of looks sharp at first and you're like, what's going on here? And then he backs away with his hands down and Gaziev's like, I don't know what this guy's doing, but bink! Right hand right down the pipe. On the button, sleeps Kennedy and Nzechukwu out in midair. Kennedy hits the deck, out like a light. I don't know, man. It felt like Kennedy just wanted to get knocked out or something. I don't know what this guy was thinking. Kennedy and Nzechukwu, some of the worst fight IQ in the history of the UFC. This was a very winnable fight, man. How this guy is a win over Alberg is a disgrace. I feel like it should be erased from all of our memories. It should be erased from the history books. We should act like that fight never happened because I don't know, man. Kennedy and Nzechukwu, that was disgraceful. And shout out to Gaziev. Goes out there. I was rooting for Gaziev, even though I didn't pick him. I should have picked him. I was regretting it, man. I was regretting it. But the title run, it's in motion. One of the reasons John Jones stepped away from the sport because of this guy right here. One of the reasons that Aspinall gone. These guys, man, rumor has it they're shivering in their boots right now at what they just saw from Shamil Gaziev. And, the real ones know. The losses in Shamil's career, they've pretty much all been flukes. The Jairzinho Rosenstrike fight, a fluke, right? And the past couple knockout losses, flukes. So Shamil should be undefeated. Great win by Gaziev, man. I'm messing around. That was a great win. That was an easy KO win. I don't know what Kennedy was doing. Shamil took full advantage of it. Easy W, title run. It's in motion, man. Chris Padilla, Nasrat Haqparast, crazy stuff from Chris Padilla. We picked him to win this fight, but to finish Nasrat is crazy impressive, man. Nasrat Haqparast, I know that Quillen Salkild knocked him out violently with a head kick, but we've seen that Haqparast is one of these guys to where he's like a really tough test for these upcoming guys. He's durable, typically, very hard to put away. His boxing is good. He's got good movement, and Padilla's Muay Thai style was just able to get to him, was throwing the teeps to the body, throwing some little oblique shots, meeting the boxing combos with elbows, landing some of his own boxing as the fight started to play out, and then got to a submission on the feet. The fight hit the deck. Haqparast did not tap. And then at the buzzer, basically, Haqparast goes out completely, and Chris Padilla ends up getting a buzzer beater submission. Super happy for Taco Padilla. We've been picking him. He's been an underdog in a lot of these fights. Put some respect on the name of Chris Padilla. He's dog tough. He's got a good ground game. You got to see the submission skills here. And on the feet, he's got that crispy, clean, traditional Muay Thai style. Got the job done against a very game Nasrat Haqparast. We've seen some fun prospects on the rise not be able to get through the Haqparast test. And even if they do, it's usually a very close competitive fight to where they don't get a finish. How about Padilla? It was a close fight, one that I thought he was definitely winning, but to go out there and get a finish, that's a statement. Happy for Taco Padilla, man. That was impressive. Marcio Barboza versus Ryan Coos. I mean, one of, if not the hardest hitting 145er right here. Barboza goes out there, knocks Coos out, hit him with a shot. It looked like Coos was kind of in like a weird spot where he was like out of it, or he was like out, but kind of just sitting in a weird spot. I don't know. It was kind of weird whatever happened there, but we got to see Barboza's takedown defense look good. Coos was trying to make it ugly, trying to make it dirty, trying to basically drag the fight out. This was a mismatch in a way, man. Barboza's nasty, crazy power, good takedown defense, very explosive. He's a serious problem in this weight class, and I'm excited to see where he could go from here because all we've seen from this guy is first-round knockouts. Contender Series, KO, knocked out Bazookia quickly, and then here we are again with another quick knockout. Barboza's looking like a serious problem in this division, man. Keeps putting up these first-round knockouts. It's impressive. Gage Young versus Stan Dorsainvil. Listen, man, maybe this is an unpopular take, and maybe this is like me being too truthful. Stan won this fight because he just flat out wanted it more. The body language of Gage Young later on in this fight, after he landed some great shots, hurting Stan badly in the first round, it's almost like Gage was like, oh shit, I can't put this guy away. I landed my best shots on him, and he's still here. And I know that you could argue that Gage Young won this fight, and I do think it was close and it could have went either way, but I slightly leaned in the direction of Dorsainvil because I thought that he kept moving forward, pushing the pace, was landing shots, especially in rounds 2 and 3. Gage Young clearly won the first round. Round 2, Stan fought much better. In round 3, it was competitive, but I still felt like Dorsainvil was still a little bit ahead. And I feel like Gage's body language hurt him big time. Because when the judges are watching this, I wonder if they're looking at the body language of Gage going, I don't know, man, this guy just looks a little bit defeated to me. And when you watch Dorsainvil, he's walking forward. He's showing you great body language. And to me, it was one of those things where it just felt like Stan was doing everything he possibly could to will himself to a victory here, where I felt like Gage Young left a little bit out there to where he did, I don't know. It just felt like he didn't do all that he could do. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. But credit to Stan Dorsainvil, and I picked Gage Young to win this fight. But as I said, I thought it would be competitive, and I would not be surprised if Stan won this fight, and it was very winnable because I feel like Gage Young has been very, very overrated off of the fact that he had a decently competitive fight with Sal Kild on DWCS. I feel like it's safe to say if you run that back, Sal Kild probably finishes Gage Young in the first or second round. So Gage Young was fooling around in the Moises fight. I think he's a decent fighter, but to go out here and lose to Stan, I mean, Stan took this on short notice, man. This was such a winnable fight that was fumbled by Gage Young. And even if you think Gage won the fight, it was too close overall. And I thought his body language was not particularly good as the fight started to play out. And I feel like the judges may have taken that into account. And Dorsainvil just looked like he wanted it more. I'm just saying what I saw. That's what I saw to me. And I like Gage Young. I think he's a dog. This was a great fight. Great back and forth. Stan Dorsainvil was not going to be denied in this fight. That's what I saw by the body language, the pace, the pressure he was putting on. And as soon as Gage realized when he landed his best shots, he couldn't put him away, it just felt like the tide started to shift a little bit. Great performance by Stan in the debut and a fun fight between the two. Hats off to both guys. It was a good fight. Wes Schultz, Jackson McVey. I had low confidence in this pick, but I did pick Jackson McVey by round 1 KO. The reason I had low confidence is because of what we saw. I mean, Wes Schultz got Jackson McVey in a bad spot and started to threaten with it with a submission very early in the round. But the problem with Wes Schultz is if he can't get the submission or he almost gets a finish, you just see the gas tank and the body language completely shift, and that's what happened in this fight. And then Jackson McVey started to touch him up on the feet, went to that knee to the body, started landing the shots to the body. And then as Schultz stepped in to try to land a combo, boom, McVey met him with that knee. And that's what we talked about, man. The tie game of McVey was going to be the difference. The knees, the elbows, the shots to the body, the clinch game. And that's exactly how Jackson ended up winning this fight. This was the Spider-Man meme one, right? Where they were like, both got the long hair and everything. That was fun, where they did that at the ceremonial weigh-in. That was a good time. But yeah, Jackson McVey, to me, just the better fighter. I just haven't been high on Wes Schultz. And I feel like Jackson McVey has shown some promise here and there. Again, a win over Dumas didn't mean a whole lot. But, Reese, Bruno Ferreira, that's decent opposition for sure, especially Bruno Ferreira. So good on Jackson McVey to go out there and get the job done. He looked good. Last but not least, Chanel Dyer versus Elise Reed. Chanel Dyer is a problem in this weight class, man. And I feel like if she ripped the boxing combos to the body, she'd be even more dangerous. She could have finished Elise Reed in the first round. Honestly, like I'm at least the second round. Maybe first round is a little bit of a stretch, at least in the second round. She was spamming a bunch of shots upstairs and was neglecting the body, was ripping good low kicks. She was way faster, way more powerful. Elise Reed had nothing for Dyer in there, man. Nothing. Could not outstrike her, could not outgrapple her, could not land anything that could gain her respect at all. What was Elise Reed going to do? Nothing. Chanel Dyer could have walked her down. She was landing big shots, had her stung up badly, especially in round 2, had her bloodied. Elise Reed's back it up, shying away, kind of flinching at everything. That's where Dyer should have changed levels and ripped a left hook to the body. Could have probably folded her, some front kicks to the body. Take some notes of what Carli Judice was doing, man. Going to the body is so underrated. So underrated. And of course, she still got the knockout, right? Landing the good shots upstairs, was able to get the ref to step in and stop the fight. This was a one-sided beatdown by Chanel Dyer. I'm just saying, if she goes to the body, it makes her that much more dangerous because her Muay Thai style of striking, very, very, very fun to watch. Chanel Dyer, I've been high on her. Her striking's outstanding. She's got devastating power, great speed. I feel like if she incorporates more body work, it will make her that much more dangerous. But we all knew that she was going to win this fight. And people call me crazy for picking both women's fights on this card to end by knockout. And they both did, man. Trust. You got to trust sometimes, you know? So that is my recap for UFC Fight Night Sacramento. Just like we all knew, man, Robocop, just like they drew it up, Robocop winning a decision. Happy he got the job done. Sad for Fluffy. And overall, I really enjoyed this card. And obviously, I am still shedding tears and coping about Lerryan Douglas losing to Jamal Emmers, man.